Hi, this is Matt with customcargrills.com. This is a reshoot of the video that we made years ago. After the grill assembly is removed from the truck, the first step is to remove the Torx screws from the lower edge and the side areas. Then pry open the plastic areas that hold the tabs in place along the top edge and sides. Additional release tabs are located at the bottom as well. Next, separate the chrome or painted grill shroud from the inner core and set it aside. The innermost tabs connected to the shroud will need to be cut off. I like using a large wire nipper for this step. After that, I'm going to use a silver marker to outline the area for the cuts that are going to need to be made for this installation. This is just a general guide, and some additional cutting may be required. I plan to make the first cut along the bottom edge. It'll be made right along the line, just barely above the screw holes. It's been years since we made the first 12 through 15 Tacoma installation video, and one of the most frequently suggested improvements for the video was to clearly show where the cuts were made. We've listened, and here is the exact line I will be cutting for this modification. There's no guesswork. There's no hidden angles. The line you see here is the line that will work perfectly for the pre-cut and pre-bent mesh piece that we have available for sale on our website. One of the major criticisms that was received in the first video was that we simplified the mesh installation too much and that it took way more effort than what I made it look to be. Some customers have cited that it took them over 5 hours to complete, while others have said it's not even possible at all. While some steps in this video are the same as before, this is an easier and much clearer way to do it. What we're watching here is sped up but unedited footage of my very first installation using this method. I made some mistakes along the way, and others might too, but this is far from impossible and much faster than the 5 hours that some have reported taking. Throughout this step of the installation, I'm using a Dremel with a cutoff wheel and simply cutting along the silver outline that was previously made. While the Dremel did a great job of making short work of most of the inner portion of this black plastic, I had not realized there was some additional reinforcement in the inner top region that would need to be removed. Once I realized what was holding me up, I took an open-ended saw blade and cut some of the vertical supports from the problematic area. If an open-ended saw blade is unavailable, a Dremel with the drywall bit attachment should work for this step. Once the inner core has been fully cut out, I'm going to remove any remaining attached burnt plastic bits that were still attached as a result of the cutting that we just did. In total, the first time doing the cutting stage of this installation took me 11 minutes and 20 seconds. I think with some practice, the cutting step could be a 5 to 6 minute job. The next step is to tie the mesh to the grill. The first part is to snap the black plastic piece back on the chrome or painted shroud. Then screw back in the Torx bit fasteners that were previously removed. Place the mesh into position and start tying the mesh down flush to the back of the grill. A common concern that customers had previously asked me about was in regards to the lower edge of this mesh. It's supposed to sit behind the chrome or painted surface and rest on top of the black plastic line that was just cut. The mesh should be right up against the back of the chrome or painted shroud, and no gap at all should be seen. Another common issue was in regards to sliding the mesh into the top area. This simply should not be a problem if the silver line that was drawn in one of the first steps was followed. But if it is a problem, then additional black plastic needs to be removed in the areas that are preventing the mesh from going forward. The tying of the mesh took me 12 minutes and 10 seconds. This likely can easily be done in under 10 minutes with a little bit more practice. Next is the gluing phase of this installation. The adhesive of choice is still automotive goop, and like many of the installs we do, I'm using a toothpick to apply the adhesive. This allows me to get a good amount of the glue in tight areas and have full control over where it's applied. A common question on this step is usually in regards to applying the goop on the lower edge and how much should be put there. The only good answer I can give is that enough should be applied so that there's full coverage along that area, but not so much that it will ooze through the front and be seen. It's fine detail work that's a little meticulous, but it needs to be done right. This adhesive takes a long time to cure, and on projects like these I typically like to do them in the evening and have them set up overnight. That way, the next day they'll be ready for installation. The gluing process took the longest of the 3 main phases shown in this video. It took me 13 minutes and 47 seconds. Improving on that time may be difficult. So, in total, for the very first time doing this specific installation, it took me a little over 37 minutes to complete the 3 main phases. I did this with some very simple tools such as a flathead screwdriver, Torx screwdriver, a Dremel with cutoff wheel, a saw blade, as well as some cable ties and foam, and a bottle of goop and a toothpick. We hope to have put to rest the main questions and concerns about this installation, and I feel more confident in myself for future installations using this new and easier to follow cutting path. I came back the next morning and the adhesive had hardened and the cable ties were cut off using a pair of wire cutters. Here's a close-up of the back of the grill now that everything is fully attached. If we compare this to the first video that was made, there are a lot of similarities on the final results, but overall I feel the path we took to get there was drastically improved. Before putting the finished grill back on the truck, we need to make sure that the mesh is firmly in place and not going anywhere. If more goop is needed to be added, then this is the time to do that. And now here's the final product of the installation that we just did. Currently, this mesh and letter combo set is going for less than $100, not including shipping. I think dollar for dollar, this is hands down one of the best mods that can be done with this truck. We used the Perf SS mesh for this installation, but there are different mesh types available, as well as custom lettering that can be made to order. If you liked what you saw in this video, we have the parts available on our website right now. And if you have any questions about this video, or any of our others, feel free to contact us. Thanks.